One thing that someone said to me, and they just said it in passing, they said, when I am in touch with my soul, I have everything. I have peace, I have joy, I have kindness. That's healing right there. And so that was the way that that beautiful being expressed it, just naturally. And it's a natural byproduct of meditating. It's a natural byproduct of practicing karma yoga. You come into contact with this energy of wholeness within you.
Good morning, and welcome to our talk today on healing and pain. As I was reading this prayer, I was instantly uplifted into the energy of wholeness and the energy of healing. It's really hard to read this prayer and not come into contact with that love and with that energy of wholeness. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and so I'm going to pass the first question to you. What is healing?
So many different answers to this, but a couple of entry points, and I invite anything that Acharya Kashi and I say are their entry points, so I invite you to keep meditating on your own. One thing that someone said to me, and they just said it in passing, they said, when I am in touch with my soul, I have everything. I have peace, I have joy, I have kindness. That's healing right there. And so that was the way that that beautiful being expressed it, just naturally. And it's a natural byproduct of meditating. It's a natural byproduct of practicing karma yoga. You come into contact with this energy of wholeness within you. I'm happy to also share a couple of things from Swami Nityananda. They might make me cry with gratitude and respect, but in 2013 and 2014, his physical body underwent incredible challenges, and he stayed here being in service. So even despite these incredible challenges, he offered himself to be an instrument of light and of kindness to share joy until the very last. And so he gave a meditation talk 2 weeks before he left the body. And one of the things that he said, this was in August and September of 2014. He left the body in November of 2014. Ask divine grace to use any condition as a teaching tool. Offer everything to the divine. Beloved, I offer you all my suffering. Recognize that God's grace is coming to me in infinite forms, even when my mind doesn't understand. And he's speaking to the divine here, saying, I have no body but your body. I have no voice but your voice. I have no breath but your breath. I have nothing else but your love, Lord. There's nothing else. That's all there is. And then, no matter what the physical self is experiencing, there is only unconditional love and pure light, which will serve through us until the very last, beyond what seems humanly possible. And when we leave the physical, we keep on being of service. And so people walk in and they say that they encounter the energy of Swami Nityananda. So you are not alone if you are a person who walks in and encounters the energy and the support of Swami Nityananda. And so the gift is realizing that this is true for all of us. This is true for all of us, that each of us is always connected to unconditional love, to limitless, pure light, to the pure energy of life. For each of us, I have no body but yours. I have no voice but yours. I have no life but yours. I have no mind but yours. I have no heart but yours. All that I am belongs to the divine the whole way through. The whole way through. Independent of what the human body or the human self experiences in time and space. And then there will always be guidance. We will always know step by step what's next to help support this body, to help this body be here, to be of service for as long as is humanly and divinely possible.
Thank you, Swami. As I meditated on healing, it came to me that it is the energy of wholeness that exists within each of us always, in the way that the flame cannot be separated from heat, the way that water cannot be separated from wetness. It is the nature of pure consciousness, and it is with you always. And even if there are physical ailments in the body, the energy of healing is with you still. If there is mental anguish or emotional anguish, the energy of healing is with you always. And we can come into direct contact with that energy, and it can help us to, almost in the way I use this one often, like a trampoline can catapult us beyond the reactivity that might inspire the pain, the mental pain or the emotional pain. It will tell you the exact right step to take towards that healing or refreshment. The balm exists within you. And that's a beautiful thing. And so even if the physical body, for example, is experiencing an ailment, if there's pain, if there is disease, we're not separate from pure consciousness, and we're not separate from healing. And I remember, Swami, one time you talked about how the will of God is like a machine. I might be saying it, but basically, like, you have the ability, free will, to create, but we're not outside of God's will. The way that Ramakrishna described it was, humans are like a cow that's tied to a tree with a very long rope. And your free will is that you can go this way, and you can go that way, and you can do this thing, all within this beautiful field that we call life. But God's will is that rope. And so sometimes it is God's will that we experience a physical ailment. And it may seem as if there's no healing for that physical ailment, but it does not mean that we are separate from the energy of healing. The energy of healing is always with us. That means that we are able to be free, even if we experience physical pain. I can be free and totally connected to reality, totally connected to wholeness, totally connected to peace, totally connected to love, whatever the human condition. And that is the living reality of healing. Understanding that right here, right now, I am whole. There is nothing separating me from pure consciousness. There is nothing separating me from love. And then in terms of those mental patterns that we sometimes experience that can cause us pain, those emotional patterns that we experience that can cause us pain, we can offer those patterns to love. The nature of love itself is that it heals. So it's in the offering of those patterns that they are healed. I saw a video recently of a man in Brazil. He came across a pet, a dog who had been mistreated. The dog was very thin. He had not been fed. He was in a bad condition. And so this man took this animal and he loved him. He loved this animal. And through his love, the animal was healed. After months, later on, you see him, his tail's wagging, he's happy, he's plump, he's fed. And it was really just the power of love in the form of healing. And so we can say that love is healing and healing is love. They're the exact same thing, the exact same coin. And so in those places where we feel pain, we can love ourselves forward. And coming into contact with love within ourselves is also coming into contact with the energy of healing that exists within us as well.
Welcome. I'm Swami Nityananda. If you are enjoying this talk, please like, share, and subscribe. Please also subscribe to our free newsletter on Substack. It's available at the link immediately below this video. Thank you for being the light that you are.
What causes pain, and where does pain come from? I'll start with this one. So I was reading a little bit about physical pain. What do medical doctors say about physical pain? And often they say that it is an indication of something. It indicates maybe an issue with nerves, maybe an issue with disease, but it's telling the body, it's telling the person there is something going on. And so we can look at emotional pain and mental pain in the same way. It's often an indicator that the way that I am perceiving is different from what is true. It's separate. It's separation consciousness. It's different from the way that pure consciousness is perceiving. And that's a wonderful thing because it's giving me feedback. I'm not alone. I have an internal GPS that is always telling me my coordinates. This is where I am in relationship to healing. This is where I am in relationship to love. There's that direct feedback. And so I believe that the pain that we experience, the suffering, as the Buddha calls it, is just an indicator to each of us to help us to come into conscious contact with reality, with what is true, with what is unchanging. And the more that we practice coming into contact with reality, with what is true, with making peace with what is, with living in the consciousness of healing, the less suffering that we experience internally. Even if there is physical pain in the body, we can be at peace. We can be in the energy of healing. I'll pause there and let you hop in, Swami.
I love what you said. If we take what Acharya Kashi said and we say that pain is an indicator, that makes it neutral. And so just to comment and make that explicit, that melts away self-judgment. So if we're experiencing pain, but we're also judging ourselves for experiencing pain, then we're further compounding that feeling of pain. And so just to kind of be self-aware about that. And this would be true about physical pain, but it would also be true in relation to thought patterns that were recurring, that were causing pain, or emotional energy patterns that were recurring, that were causing pain as well. And so if you can, just let it be a neutral indicator. I notice there's physical pain. And then give yourself an invitation to connect with wholeness within yourself. The pain is, again, just making explicit something Acharya Kashi said, the pain is an indicator to reestablish connection. And so if you're experiencing physical pain, how may I reestablish connection? If you're experiencing mental pain, how may I reestablish connection with myself and with the divine and with what is true, with what is real? If you're experiencing emotional pain, how may I reestablish connection? And there's a couple of stories, one from more recent times and one from, I think it's the book of Mark in the Gospels. In Mark, this is chapter 5, there's a woman who's been bleeding for 12 years, and she spent all of her money on doctors, and it hasn't worked. And then the scripture doesn't say this, but I'm telling you this. At the time, that would have meant she was ceremonially considered unclean, ritually unclean. So not only was she bleeding for 12 years, spending all of her money and having it not work, but she was cut off. She basically felt outcast from community for 12 years as well. And she approaches Jesus in the middle of a crowd, and she reaches out and holds on to the hem of his garment. And he notices, and he turns around, and he says, "Who just touched me?" She tells him the whole truth. Just notice that. She tells him the whole truth. So part of healing is being in the energy of truth. And what he says to her is, "Daughter, your faith has made you whole." He restores her to community. He restores her to family. That's his first word, is daughter. The whole truth is necessary. So allow yourself to see the wholeness of yourself. It's there always, no matter what you are experiencing. And he calls her daughter. And so allow yourself to be restored to community. Allow yourself to be restored to connection. Swami Nityananda says enlightenment does not happen in isolation. It happens in interaction. There's a reason why he founded the meditation community. So allow yourself to have that connection. But I'll also just give another more contemporary example. So you all might know this, but in this country as well, it used to be that actresses, women who act, were not considered pure. And this was the case in other countries as well. And so this is a story in another country, a famous actress, considered the best actress of her generation. Beautiful, young, wealthy. Everyone knew who she was, married to a gorgeous guy who loved her, 2 gorgeous kids, 1 boy, 1 girl. She approached a teacher, and the traditional form of greeting the teacher in that country is to reverently touch the feet of the teacher. She was afraid to touch his feet because she knew she was an actress, and she knew that in that country she was considered not pure because she was an actress. And he said to her, the divine sees your heart. The divine does not see externals. And he called her daughter. The same way that Jesus called this woman daughter. He said, daughter, be my daughter in the world. And that restored community to her. That restored connection to her. It let fall away. I mean, from my perspective, in this moment, there's nothing wrong with her for being an actress. It's amazing that she's using her talent in that way. Ramakrishna himself said that's an amazing way to educate people. Amazing. But she had internalized the cultural judgment that was on her in that time. And so she kind of had this feeling of like, I'm not worthy to reach out and to touch this beautiful teacher of light. And he said to her, daughter, daughter, daughter. So the divine is saying to each of us, you are my child. You are loved. You are cared for. It doesn't matter if all of those other humans who are around you are looking at you and thinking that there is something impure about you or something wrong with you, or you feel like you have been cut off from community for 12 years. You are a child of light, and you are loved. And so if you can, please set aside those judgments. Please love yourself. Please extend that family connection, kinship, universal kindness, love to every human. You do not know who you are looking at. Whatever their position is, they could have name and fame and wealth and everything externally, and they could feel cut off from love. Please connect. Please share love. Please share kindness. Do it with yourself and do it with absolutely everyone you possibly can.
Thank you, Swami. That was beautiful. And you started to answer our next question. How do I connect with the energy of healing within myself and know that as a living energy? Why don't you keep going?
Okay. So you've already helped us with this, because one of the things that you're helping us to articulate is healing is my heartbeat. Like this very day, and I'm asking myself, I'm asking everyone else, this day is a gift to me from the divine. Being here in this chair, in this moment, is a gift to me from the divine. If I am breathing a breath, it is a gift to me from the divine. The life energy that is beating this body is a gift to me from the divine. The moment that I know that, that's all that exists. There really is only healing energy, no matter what the physical body is experiencing. So the scriptures, and when I say scriptures, all of the scriptures, but also like the Bhagavad Gita says that we are to rise above body consciousness. So what that means is love the body, honor it, respect it. It's an amazing vehicle. It's an instrument to help us be of service. Rise above identifying with whatever the body is feeling. And the body belongs to the divine the whole way through. So in the Upanishads, this is from the Mundaka Upanishad, the self exists in humans. The self is the divine, the supreme. The supreme exists in humans within the lotus of the heart and is the master of human life and of the human body. that means that the divine is the master of my heart, the master of my life, the master of my body. So there's not a single moment when I am separate from succor and support and joy and fun and laughter, completely independent of whatever the body or the human emotions or the human thoughts are. This is my very nature. Mm-hmm. And this is true for every human on the planet. And so for each of us in every moment to turn within and to ask. Each of us is directly connected to the source of solutions. So turn within and to ask, Divine Grace, what would you have me know in this moment? Divine Grace, what would you have me do in this moment? Divine Grace, here are my perceptions of what's happening with my body. Can you help me rise above identifying with those perceptions? Help me connect with the energy of solutions. Another thing, and I'm drawing on 10 years of blessed conversations with humans, if you can let go of judging yourself for any physical condition, any emotional patterns, just let the judgment go and just say, what is healing for right now? What are the solutions that I am guided to for right now? Years ago, someone was talking about medications that allowed them to be here in the body, and you could tell there was like a feeling of separateness in relation to the medications. And I invited them to view the medications for as long as it's helpful, view them as the divine in the form of the medications, helping you to be here in this body for as long as you need them. And then if you don't need them later, also fine. The divine exited your experience. But while they're there, that is support that is flowing to you from the divine. And so if you can just sort of have a feeling of neutrality, bless all the food you eat, and ask the divine to guide you to food that strengthens you. Bless the water that you drink. And it's an amazing thing. Like, I have talked to a human whose body didn't let them drink water. And then gradually they came into connection with themselves. And they say now, when they get up, the first thing they do in the morning, they drink a giant glass of water. They close their eyes. They savor every swallow of water. And they feel the nourishment of the water from the crown of their head to the tip of their toes. Ever since they told me that, I do the same thing. It's amazing to begin your day by drinking a glass of water and closing your eyes and knowing, like, this is the divine in the form of this water. It's incredible. It makes you ecstatic in your kitchen every morning. So enjoy.
Thank you, Swami. So last week, I took a really big expedition. I hiked 80 miles through the Sierra Nevada mountains, wearing a 40-pound pack, and it was challenging. I had trained for a year to do it, and I was out there for 7 days, so maybe on day 4, I said to my friend who I was with, I said, you are with me as I experience something I've never experienced before. And I feel like I'm getting to my physical limits. I've trained for this. I'm doing everything right. I'm making sure I've got my simple carbohydrates and my protein. And this is a guy who does Ironman competitions. He does marathons, so he has a little bit of experience with endurance activities. And he said to me, you don't do everything right so that it can be easy. You do it right so that you can get through it. So keep going, basically. And so from that moment, I just started chanting. So every step that I took, I just said, God. Every breath that I took, I just said, God. And again, we're going up mountains, several mountains, not one, but several of them, to the tallest peak in the continental United States. And it just got to a point where I was just so tuned in to this energy of healing and of love that everything was speaking to me, from what step to take, to where to put my hand as I climbed, to when I needed to drink water, what time I needed to take my snack. I mean, everything was available to me in that moment that I needed it. And I share that to say that we can connect with the energy of healing with ourselves in any moment, just tuning in and connecting. God, every breath, every step. God, every breath, every step. God, every breath, every step. And everything is responsive to us. We will know when to drink our water if it is the first thing in the morning and we see it saturating us from the top of our heads to the bottom of our shoes. We will know to step in this way as opposed to that way. We will know to say this thing as opposed to that thing, to eat this thing as opposed to that thing. And so it becomes this constant flow where you are in constant communication with Source and never separate from it. What is the best way forward? That is the question. What is the best way forward? And the answer is always just take the next step. We were able to finish a day before we anticipated that we would finish. Just taking the next step. Just connecting with the breath. Just saying God with every step. And so my friend noticed that I was like in a flow, and he says to me like, what are you doing? And I said, I got my little flow. I'm like, and I have my mantra, and I told him what it was. And then he's like, I'm gonna do my mantra. And his mantra was, I am that I am. And that took us all the way. God and I am that I am. And so I share that to say that is accessible to us wherever. It was accessible to me in the mountains, but is it accessible to me right here, right now? It is accessible to you right here, right now. And it helps us to overcome the feeling of limitation, the feeling of a barrier, of I have reached my limit. There are no limits. There are no limits. And so anytime we come to the place where we feel there is a wall, offer that wall to God, and you see it melts, and then you can just take the next step, and take the next step, and take the next step. And it's through that actual work, it's through that process that you know healing as a living energy. Then it's not just words. It's not just concept. It's a real, living, alive thing in you. Right now, as you breathe, you are breathing with the energy of healing. Right now, you are just thriving. Your blood is the energy of healing. And sometimes we feel cut off from it. If you've ever seen like a tourniquet, how a tourniquet can stop the flow of blood from a certain section, we, from our own patterns, can seem to tourniquet the flow of healing. But the flow of blood is there. It's only that something has been placed to prevent that flow. And so we can create our own barriers to that flow. If I, in that moment of talking to my friend, when he said that we do it so that we can get through it, not that it's so that it can be easy, and I said, man, I can't do this. This is impossible. There's no way forward. It would have been like a tourniquet, right? And I would have been blocking my own ability to move forward. And so sometimes as humans, we do that. But we also have the power to just keep going. And that's available to us always. And then our final question. Is there anything that can't be healed? I believe that there is no thing that is beyond love, that there is no thing that is beyond wholeness, that there is no thing that is beyond healing. That is not to say that there are some of us who will have diseases that just won't be healed. That is our walk. But even with a physical disease, we can know illumination. Even with a physical disease, we can know wholeness. Even with a physical disease, we can know pure love. We all have access to that, always. It is within you. It is within you. We can take inspiration from the wind. We can take inspiration from the flow of water. We can take inspiration from our wonderful teacher. But the arrows are always pointing to you, to your own heart, so that you come to witness within yourself that which is true, that which is unchanging, and that which is healing eternally. So I don't think that there is anything that cannot be healed, meaning there is nothing that can separate you from what you are. Whatever your patterns, whatever your fears, sometimes it seems as if we can inherit pain like an heirloom from our parents, from history, whatever has happened in the realm of time and space. It is not greater than love. In fact, it is an expression of love. And we witness that when we come into contact with love. All of this, says the Chindoga Upanishad, is Brahman. All of this is pure consciousness. There is no separation here. It's all love. And through consistency and practice, we witness it and we know it to be true for ourselves.
So, we are light. We are radiance. Go back to the Gayatri Mantra. Radiance projects into time and space. Radiance takes the form of the physical vehicle that you are in right now. Your core nature, your reality, your truth, it is eternal, it is unborn, it is undying, it is immortal, it is unchanging. That is what you are always, and it is always whole. This amazing body is mortal. It is not going to be here forever. And so when we remember that, we can take care of this. It belongs to the divine the whole way through. And we can tune into the divine continually, asking the divine, how may I be of service? How may I create health and steadiness and strength and balance within this body so that I'm able to be here, so I'm able to be responsive, so I'm able to share light? And so another way of saying this is in consciousness and in energy, it's completely possible to be in that energy of pure illumination, pure wholeness, independent of what the body is experiencing. And so I think I'll share just a couple more things that Swami Shankarananda said. Again, being of light and illumination, whose body was experiencing tremendous challenges. And he says this, whatever comes, whether it be physical strength or a time of physical healing, surrender everything to divine direction and guidance. Pray, God, do with my body what you want. Use my body, use my mind, use my heart and my hands. Use all of me as an instrument for upliftment. The divine will do this, no matter what condition our body is in. If that is our prayer, the divine will uplift through us, whatever is happening with the body. Swami Shankarananda also says this, transcend the physical condition. Whatever the condition any of us experiences, let each one of us realize, I chose this condition to show I can remain inwardly unaffected by it. And so he's taking full responsibility for all of his experiences. He's taking full responsibility for all of his feelings, for all of his thoughts, for all of his choices. And he's saying, here I am, exactly as I am right now, totally the energy of unconditional, limitless, boundless love, completely, beyond limits. And as long as I am here in the body, divine grace, let kindness and let radiance, let illumination shine through me. And this is the prayer for all of us. As long as we're here in the body, let kindness and illumination and radiance shine through us as it is capable of shining through each of us. Each of us has unique and perfect ways of allowing this divine energy to share through us. And then when it comes time to let the body go, choose to be here as Swami Shankarananda did, as long as you possibly can, being of service every moment of time and embodiment. Remember that it's a garment that your immortal light self is wearing for right now. And so just remember the way, like right now, I have these sweet shoes that I'm wearing. I won't wear them always. And when it's time for me to step out of them, that's easy. It's just stepping out of a pair of shoes. And so for your spirit, for your eternal immortal self, to let yourself be fearless and to know that the divine is giving us this day. The divine is giving us this life. Am I allowing myself to receive? This is a miraculous gift this day. Am I noticing that? This is a miraculous life. There's never been another one like it for each of us. There will never be another one like it. Your you-ness, I know I just made up a word, it's completely unprecedented. And it completes the universe. The universe is not whole without you being here. And so when you have that awareness, what happens then is you are dancing with divine grace always, no matter how your feet feel, no matter what condition your shoes are, or your body is, or if you can physically even move, your spirit is still dancing with divine grace. And so you can rest assured that every breath, every moment, every heartbeat, the beginning of this life, the whole way through, and the ending of this life, it is all a gift. All of it is held in divine love. And if you can, look at it that way as the letting go of the body, which is the way the yogis say it. It's also part of grace. It's also part of life. It's also part of wholeness. It's also part of beauty. Please, you all, be here. Make choices that help you be here, because it is incredible, and it is the most precious gift that we can receive, is to be here, and to be here in love, and to share that light, but also know all of it. What humans call birth and what humans call death, all of it is embraced by divine love. And we are ongoingness. We are eternal. We are immortal. And so to allow yourself to live more fearlessly in the body, more freely and more fully, allowing yourself to love and to laugh and to enjoy the beautiful sweetness of life. Drinking a glass of water, you don't get to do that in the non-physical. Please enjoy your glass of water and know that you are just so precious. Your embodiment is just so precious.
Thank you, Swami. I will offer a closing prayer. Heavenly Father, Mother God, as long as we are in the body, please help us to choose kindness and illumination and love and healing and upliftment and encouragement and generosity and community. Amen.
I'll offer a quick silent blessing. And so this is energizing our own connection with healing on every level and layer of our body and our being. Om. Thank God, and God bless us all.